Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics. That's no classics. This is episode number 1539 and Doubleshot number. That was 1639, number 1533. I have two Marvel trades. Now, for the next couple episodes for the Comic Corner, it'll feature two series where features characters that are created by the late Stan Lee and the late Jack the King Kirby. Alright, first up, it is Thor, Volume 2, Prey, written by Donny Coates, art by Aaron Kerner, and who did the first couple issues here, and 9 to 14 is over Nick Keene. Now, this comes with Thor Volume 6. Now, in this very story, the first couple issues mostly involve a story arc involving stuff going on with Mjolnir. Mjolnir during this period of time, and it's still going on currently, Mjolnir has gotten heavy for Thor. Where apparently everyone else can lift it up, no problem at all, but apparently Thor is becoming too heavy for him for some reason. It's suspected to be king. So, what does he do with Mjolnir? Throws to Braxton, Oklahoma, where, get this, there's a guy who sees it and calls a number on it. Yes, there's a number on the damn hammer. Whose number is it? It's the personal phone number of Tony Stark. So Iron Man shows up here, and we have a brief battle between Thor and Iron Man. First time since Thor Volume 3 by JMS. That was completely justified. This one felt like completely just like, oh, let's have a fight because let's do this. Yeah, that's my guess. Is probably because Donny Coates must have loved JMS's run so much. So he's like, okay, let's reference it from that run. That's how these two beat the crap out of each other for a different reason, mind you. Last time was due to Thor finding out what the fact that Tony Stark cloned him. This is due to Thor stuff going on with his head. And after this two-parter wraps up, and then we have the start of a 6-part story arc. What story arc? Prey. Thor decides he needs to go back being Donald Blake. I should point something out about this. He has not done this, or at least Donald Blake has not made an appearance since Matt Fraction's run. Since issue 17 of Matt Fraction's run, which came out in... Oh, how long was this one? Let's see. Now, Donald Blake has made an appearance in flashbacks, mind you, but an actual physical appearance? No, this actually is the first time in about 9 years that he's made it. I think it's been 9 years, hasn't it? That Donald Blake has appeared. Actually, it's been 8. At the time these issues came out, it's been 8 years since Donald Blake's last appearance. So Thor brings back Donald Blake. Oh yeah, we'll bring him back briefly. Nope, not briefly. This lasts for this entire story arc. Oh yeah, by the way, the old man who finds Thor's hammer, he briefly becomes the God of Thunder briefly for like an issue. Yeah. Just something for pure fun. Yeah. And then of course where you have flashback of Donald Blake from Journey's Mystery. You have Donald Blake just basically like being here for a while. And then Thor telling Loki he wants to be back Donald Blake. And they have a brief fight, but he brings back anyways. And he comes back as... Well, he finds out at the start of the very story, Thor is in this other dimension that apparently Donald Blake has been in for years. And he kills the Midgard serpent. But he comes back looking like this. Yes, Donald Blake has become evil. Yes, Donny Coates has turned him evil. So, what does he decide to do? Basically, rip apart Donald Blake, Bay Ray Bill's armor, send the Asgardians to a Hell Dimension. Oh yeah, well, not only killed Midgard Serpent, he apparently went after Red Narville. He's thinking, who the heck is Red Narville? He was one of the many fake Thors and popping up since the late 70s. Yeah, op panel, he killed him. Of course, we don't know he killed him until after he had dinner with Jane Foster. In the case of this dinner, mind you, this is the first time Donald Blake has seen her in person since, well, it's been a long time. Oh my gosh, a long time. Oh, he takes time to basically shave before he goes meet her. Has a mistake dinner with her. He's become sort of unstable, and then of course, she finds out she's Jane Foster. Jane Foster is Valkyrie. Because, of course, Donald Blake once mentions on Odin and Thor for basically his current condition. So he goes after him. And then he decides to go after, of all people, Doctor Strange. A guy he's never met before prior to this. Yes, Donald Blake has never met Doctor Strange before. But he found out about something that I'm glad Donny Nicholas referenced this. You see, if you read the very first story for the first of two stories that Donny Nicholas did for Doctor Strange. Yeah, he did an arc for Doctor Strange. Well, he found out, though, that Loki used Asgardian magic to restore the world's magic. And he tries to nearly murder Doctor Strange. But then, of course, he decides to go after the source. So, Jane Foster figures, though, get there first. What's the source? Odin himself, who apparently is slimmed down. Yeah, so apparently Odin has lost a ton of weight. He still has the eye patch, mind you. Yes, so... And here's Odin, who apparently has slimmed down since his last appearance. He usually was a kind of chunky guy. But yeah, he's slimmed down, but his muscles are huge. Apparently he's taken up drinking. Heavy drinking. So... Jane Foster wants him to handle this. Of course, Doctor Strange is here, because of course he is. Along with Loki, who does reference events to that story, because Don Nicholas wrote it. Because apparently he wants to get everything associated with him. And of course we have... And then apparently Odin decided to basically put on his armor again. First time since Jason wrapped up his run. Just so he could basically deal with him. And of course Thor really wanted to go back, but he can't because, well... Donald Blake broke the stick, but Thor comes back. How? Via the Destroyer Armor. Yes, the Destroyer Armor. He uses that to basically restore his Axe physical form and become separated again. First time since that manufacturing run. And he does fight him, and of course Odin nearly kills him, but Thor tells him to stop. But instead, Thor asks Loki what to do with him. And Loki just, make him do God lies. And he does. And that's the last we see of Donald Blake for a bit. I don't think he's popped up since then, but this is a very interesting story arc. Who would have thought, though, that we have a dark story arc like this? By the way, some stuff in here does play an effect in the very next story arc for this series, which I'll review in the very next episode, which do have it. This book is really good. I thoroughly enjoy this. I give this book I'm going to get 9.5 out of 10. It's a damn good book. Yeah, Don Nicholas continues to surprise me. Plus, love the covers. Here's him fighting the Midgard Serpent, which he doesn't fight at all. Yeah. Alright, next up it is Fantastic Four. This is Fantastic Four. First two trades. Second trade I would not make a hands on. I'll review the final issues for this run in a separate video. This is basically the first of two trades to collect Mark Millar's run for Fantastic Four. Yes, Mark Millar did have a very brief run for Fantastic Four in, I think it's like 2009, I think it was. Yeah, about 2009. This book collects issues 564 to 561. Him and Brian Hitch doing this book. This actually was the first book they worked on since they wrapped up Ultimates 2. Yep. I think this was like the third book they were working on together. Yes, I believe. The third or fourth book. Well, third book from Marvel, mind you. So mostly put for this book, for one thing, we have a change of logo. Yes, this logo would stay with this run until John Hickman took over the book with issue 570. Yes, 570. So, we have a few various different things going. We have the debut of this character named Alyssa, who claims to be a relative of Reed Richards, even though they find out, nope, she isn't. It turns out she's actually of this group known as the New Defenders. No, not the classic Defenders who popped up in the 70s. Oh no, this was a version from the future, led by Robert Bruce Banner Jr. Yes, a version of the Hulk who's basically grown up. There's a hooded man, part of this group, who's a stepfather who, get this, is Old Man Logan. Yeah, this comic was actually his historic debut. His first chronological appearance was in Wolverine Volume 3, Issue 66. There's also Lightbringer. I'm trying to think. Yeah, they later changed it to Fantastic Force. Yeah, this was. Yeah, this was the group right here. It was issue 558. The group is comprised of Alex Ultron, a descendant of Ultron, of course Hulk Jr., Lightwave, who is kind of like a version of the Human Torch. He's from Zen Law. There is also Natalie X, who is this weird woman. Oh, by the way, who appears in this run and the mini series that comes right after this run wraps up. Well, she does pop up like a few times afterwards in Hickman's run, but that's it for her. Mm-hmm. And finally, Sonics, who appears just this run, and then Hickman basically kills her off, like pretty much as soon as basically Hickman takes over the book. Yeah, as soon as he takes over the book, he has her get killed off. Yep. Why the heck did he kill her off? I have no idea. Basically, that he decided to do it for some reason. Currently, she's the only member who's actually dead. Yeah. Let's see. Alex Ultron, he's still very much alive. He's a robot. The Hooded Man, aka Old Man Logan. Yeah, he was Wolverine at one point, but this is just a futuristic version of him. He pops up in this very story arc, and he pops up, and of course, in Fantastic Force, which is in that book. And, well, this version, anyways, though, as a matter of fact, you can kind of say that this version has popped up a few times since then, but mostly put, yeah, so basically, Mark Millar basically brought this guy in. Mm-hmm. Basically, Mark Millar had this thing where he had the book feel like a. How should I put this? It felt like basically he was like writing like a magazine for like some kind of like sci-fi magazine. That's basically how he wrote it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's also this woman named Leslie Castle who's associated with Reed Richards. Mostly, but we have debuted this thing called New World, which apparently the New Defenders at one point took down. Get this, Galactus, and use him as a vehicle. Yes, Galactus. This is a very interesting start. You also have the return of Doctor Doom halfway through the story arc, where he apparently kills off the Invisible Woman. Oh, don't worry, she's fine. Yeah, they revealed the very next door she actually survived. It was a fake death, and he had to go to prison just for killing her. But I gotta say, for the very first story arc of Mark Millar's run, it's actually pretty good. I'll review the final issues of the run later. It's only about 8 issues that come after this one. I'll review that plus Fantastic Force in the video. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. It feels like basically that Mark Millar basically brought the book back to sort of a sci-fi root in a way. Also, they had this thing later on where they kind of reveal of a retcon related Doctor Doom, which is never really follow up with. Oh, yes, definitely. We also debut of Debbie Green, who is a teacher who briefly is engaged to Ben Grimm. Yep, and she's only in this very run. Oh, don't worry, I'll be getting to her, more to her, don't worry about that. Yep. Yeah, this one's called World's Greatest. That's what this thing is called, which is basically the nickname Fantastic Four has been using for years. Mm-hmm. Yes, they've been using it since heck. There was even a series they had called Fantastic Four World's Finest Magazine. It was a comic book published back in the 90s, I think it was. Yes. Yeah, but I'm enjoying, like, this one is quite interesting for what it is, basically, because the world's greatest story arc, that wraps up with issue number 557. So, like, it's like a quick, like, uh, four-parter, and then we have Dead Visible Woman, which does not get concluded here. Oh no, that's not concluded until the very next trade, which seems quite strange. The fact they would have her apparently die at. They had this book end with issue 61, I think it was, right? At the end of 61, and you don't even have. Well, it's death of a fake invisible, but it's not the actual one, mind you. Oh no. Almost! Yeah, well, I've gotta go. So yeah, not much to say about this book. Pretty good. Book 9 out of 10. Okay, so that's it for Sick Love You. Stay tuned for later on more reviews. Bloodshot King. Okay, bye.